spread to Tunisia, Pakistan, Indonesia, India, Yemen, Malaysia. The list, it goes on, and it grows by the day. Of course, those protests in Australia as well. Well, today, another group of radical Muslims is due to meet in Sydney, despite appeals for calm from Muslim leaders. Tasneem Chopra, who is from the Australian Muslim Women's Centre for Human Rights, joins us now. Good morning to you. How concerned are you about this meeting today?
Well, the first I heard about it was news reports this morning, and I would couple my concern with the fact that I understand that there's been a great voice from amongst Muslim leadership across this country that has called for calm and dialogue and peace. So I would be only speculating on the outcomes of this particular meeting, which I wouldn't want to, and I would say that let's hope they take on board the overwhelming voice of reason that's been put through by Muslim leaders, faith and community. And
that was good to see yesterday, but are you concerned these smaller elements will protest again and reflect badly on the religion in a wider sense?
Look, I think authorities are pretty strongly looking over this issue, and I think in tandem with community leadership there's a lot more vigilance and awareness about the community and how things are developing. I think I'm more concerned about really what's likely to happen on the ground in terms of the repercussions of people's, I guess, the broader community's perceptions of these events. And by that I mean when the public tend to malign an entire community for the actions of a few, which were inexcusable. We often see that it's women and children who face the brunt end of hostilities, particularly women who are more visibly identifiable as Muslims. So my concerns are with these members of our community, and my hope is that authorities, the state, the police, the government and the media can take a greater source of concern about how they conduct themselves in representing this issue.
Anecdotally, as a result of the protests on the weekend, have you heard that there have been an increase in the number of verbal attacks or any other kind of attacks on Muslim women and children?
Organisations I'm aware of have had hundreds of hate letters or hate mail of various forms. These have been passed on to authorities, and we'd be urging people who are receiving hate mail and such to inform authorities or to contact lawyers if they feel any threat to their person. Absolutely.
As a mother yourself, are you concerned about the women whose children were holding up those signs over the weekend?
I think as a parent, we want to protect our children, so that image which has come to represent, like it or not, the face of the protest is something that's going to be a sort of almost immortalised, which is on one hand it's a very tragic picture, but I think what it speaks to is a greater issue, and that is to the issue of young boys or young men who are feeling so disenfranchised and disconnected with their community that they don't find a legitimate outlet for that rage.
Okay, and,
so my concern
and where is a legitimate, sorry to interrupt, but where is the legitimate outlet for that rage, and how will it be channeled, and do you have any control over that? Because I think these elements, people are arguing, can't be controlled by the Muslim community, and that's the issue.
I don't think I think young men feeling disenfranchised, men behaving badly, is a social issue, and I don't think it's appropriate to label the same way we didn't blame, for example, the behaviour in Cronulla riots on the broader Australian community, or the behaviour of crazy soccer fans at soccer matches on a particular cohort of the European community. We tend to look at that as a sociological issue, and I think that applies in this context. It's fairly easy to brandish the Muslim title because it's easy sell. But I think if you really want to look into the issue, we're talking about social dysfunction and disconnection. We need to deploy funds in society to work with these communities, because if it's not being solved at the faith level, it is a broader issue of fitting in. And I think an element that's not really been looked at here is working with young people and families.
I
think if our...
Sorry to interrupt again. I could talk to you all day about this, but just in relation, just one final one in relation to these young Muslim men. They're protesting because of this video, and it shows no signs of abating their concerns, and certainly what they did on the weekend was wrong. How is the Muslim community going to resolve the situation with them moving forward when the situation only seems to be intensifying overseas?
Look, I don't believe it is intensifying overseas. If we look at the numbers of people protesting per capita of Muslim communities across the world, the proportions are actually smaller. I'm not minimising the inappropriateness of taking their message out in a violent way. I mean, that's not acceptable. But I think we need to look at finding alternative ways to voice their protest. Rallies are probably the most ineffective way of actually, seeking change. It certainly draws attention to yourself, but it does nothing to help the cause at all.
No, well said, Tasneem. Thank you for your time today. We appreciate it, and I hope to talk to you soon in the future. Lisa?
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Carl. Well, after the break, a bit of a change of pace. Jennifer